Spiritual Conspiracies compilation, the ways the Matrix are manipulating you. Some through practices you've been taught, some through technology. Are there more than animals to meet the eye? The spiritual conspiracy battlefield of the mind. Also, are they hiding portals from you? Let's dive right in. Are manners a conspiracy? Aside from actual kindness, are certain manners we've been taught to manipulate us. Certain things like forced eye contact, or certain phrases we're supposed to say in order to be polite. Things that are actually word magic. By request, let's examine a few practices we were taught early on and see if they're manipulating us. Eye contact. Lots of curses can come through eye contact, as well as a measurable visual energy output exchange. Also, the occult usage of the eye symbolism and the evil eye. Eyes are the window to the soul and transmit light info. There was an example in the Bible where the Lord told somebody not to make eye contact with anybody and just keep walking until his journey was done. Maybe we're not supposed to make eye contact with everybody. And legends of Medusa. You look, you turn to stone. How about words or phrases we say? A form of legal spellbinding or demons getting permission to access, or to trick you into coming into agreement with something. Things like saying, "You're welcome." That's literally an invitation. Permission for an entry. Words like sir, master, lots of other word magic. Forced handshakes to appear polite. It's a spiritual portal of contact, of energy or spirits passing, or at least it could be. How about being forced to listen to something? You don't want to complain, but certain music just completely wars against your soul. And eating, the whole idea, just shut up and eat. Don't worry about what's in it, or the procedure, shortcuts, or the fake GMO ingredients. That's the whole idea of kosher, by the way. Healthy fuel for the body. Just eat the KFC cannibal grub trough with the pig next to you and shut up. Aside from that, just matrix thoughts about being forced to sit down all day and how that's totally horrible for you. Whether you're a child in school or an adult in a cubicle farm, sitting down all day will From 5 to 18, just forced to sit there all day like jail. Don't move, don't talk, just basically don't be alive. Genuine kindness is one thing, and very important. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Maybe the realest thing out here in the Matrix. But aside from that, don't get suckered in. Some of these manners might be a conspiracy against you. See you next time on The Savage Truth. Can some animals be angels? Can some be demon-possessed or employed by warlocks? Are skinwalkers or animalities real? And did humans used to be able to talk to animals in a lost secret language? This and more fascinating phenomena where animals seem to be hacked into, hijacked, and taken over by an angel or a spirit being and then used to do something here on Earth. Influenced animal avatars. Also, aside from just about every culture mentioning gods coming down in the form of animals, animal-human hybrids, or animal humanoids. Let's start with some recent intervention that seems spiritual. Like this horse that saved a bunch of humans from a fire that didn't even know was happening. The horse came, knew there was a fire happening, kicked out the window, alerted the other people to the fire, and the people evacuated the building and were saved. Also, like this harbor seal, guardian angel who saved this diver from drowning. Or a dog who came up and saved a street preacher right when somebody was about to attack him. A random phantom dog just came up, got in between them, started barking at the guy, and chased him off. Angels using video game controllers to influence Earth. Fascinating dolphin rabbit holes about saving humans many times. Greeting astronauts. Being in the military. Probably all related to why it was illegal to communicate with them and why there was tons of real LSD dolphin experiments that you probably actually don't want to look up. Also, interesting use of animals in warfare. Another fascinating rabbit hole you could get lost in. The concept of trained animal militarized beings. Birds and other animals used in warfare throughout history. Got interesting. Even Samson's warfare strategy with foxes and fiery tails, pretty genius. By the way, Samson was a supernatural birth, just like John the Baptist, if you look into it. And ironically, he also used a jawbone of a donkey to perform a miraculous slaying of 1,000 Philistines. Speaking of donkeys and jawbones, and maybe related on an esoteric thread, there was actually a talking donkey in the Bible that saved somebody from being mowed down by an angel with a fiery sword who was standing in the middle of the road, which is also another mystery. This Shrek-like donkey apparition all of a sudden talking, and then he talks back before he even realizes that an animal's talking to him. Whales are another creature that have also demonstrated sentience a bunch of times. The gentle, loyal giants of the sea, the elephants of the deep. So aside from literal birds or other animals learning words or apes learning sign language or ways to communicate, ancient threads of animals actually talking, even going back to the serpent in the Garden of Eden talking animals. Animals and humans did used to be able to communicate with each other with an original language. In fact, the entire pre-sin Eden world is fascinating, as is the whole pre-flood antediluvian world. Much different world than we live in now. So this whole concept of animals talking and then losing their ability, or losing their desire, or being just completely afraid of man and retreating. Some maybe still have the ability under certain circumstances to talk possibly, as crazy as it sounds. Also, lots of talking serpents or dragons in every culture ever. Speaking of Adam and Eve, does naming something give it a soul? Kind of an interesting thought. Names having a power of their own. But also, aside from authority, there was a lot of layers of reasoning of why God brought animals before Adam and had him name them. Goes really deep, actually. But this cyclical come around to the end of time, we see this restoration with the animal kingdom where humans and animals are friends again. And even animals are friends with each other, which I personally think is really cool. Also, you see in the millennial reign, the behavior of the animals will be different. The wolf will lie with the lamb, which is also a Mandela effect. Some people remember the lion will lay with the lamb. Honestly, they're probably confusing the fact that Jesus is the lion and the lamb. But Isaiah probably always said the wolf will lay with the lamb. Also, the Mandela effect is probably more like the Mandala effect, since it's all related to frequency warfare, mandalas being a form of sigil frequency. You can check out more about this on my last Unpod on my YouTube page, Language Comes from the Stars. So aside from animal language, are they in heaven? The Bible does mention horses and others. Also, imagine being Noah and literally having all these huge, awesome beasts come to you for safety. Exotic and wild animals of all kinds, some that you've never seen before, all coming to you knowing they can trust you, and that somehow you'll protect them. Intriguing. As is some layer of a hidden sentience that maybe remains among certain species that have distanced themselves from humans. And the lost animal language, the original form of Hebrew, the key to creating the simulation. This also can be done with sign language, an original sign language, symbols with your hands, sigils in hand form, tapping into the brain encoding and chemistry and instinct of animals and humans. Plug on my page about Crocodile Dundee controlling animals with that symbol and how to control invisible energy. And also the language of the birds is actually, aside from actually being able to know things from paying attention to the birds, is an esoteric thread about a lost ancient language. Probably won't be able to find a lot about it online though. Either way, very clear that animals can and are used by God in the spirit realm very often, aside from the animals' own will themselves. Again, even one of the judgments in Revelation, we see a gang of animals or beasts of the field come out to wreak shop on mankind. Also, owls and other animals used as monitoring spirits and in league with the dark side. We even see pigs in the Bible being demon-possessed and the ability for animals to be possessed by spirits, beings, and demons. This is a real thing, maybe related to octopus intelligence, which you can find on my Thought Experiment compilation. The incredible intelligence that octopuses display, and maybe Nephilim creations, is a legitimate thought. And you may or may not have known that sharks upside down look like demons. Go ahead and take a look. Hopefully the Harbor Seal guardian angel is nearby, or your sentient whale protector, which again, Jonah being eaten by the great fish, and then transporting him to a land, all under control by God. There is also the formidable Boston Dynamic robot dogs, and the robo-DARPA animals like the insect bees, that The Simpsons showed you like 20 years ago, bee drones that spy on people. Trans animals like transhumans, cyborgs, robotic mixtures, and the like, or AI becoming like Dr. Dolittle and being able to communicate with all animals, especially now that it's operational and running on its own. Who knows what it actually knows? Or AI could help you become a Dr. Dolittle type god to talk to animals yourself by translating the electrical impulses into speech patterns and translating for you. Also, there's an interesting video on here that shows that a lot of animal noises, when you speed them up or slow them down, are actually all the same. The encoding of the higher civilization is recognizable. Again, we're seeing the common theme of the merging of science and technology and the spirit realm. Even canine telepathy tests are being ran that kind of remind me of the LSD dolphin experiments. And all sorts of other animal-like experiments, either too dark to mention or done in secret. Also probably tying into the concept of skinwalkers and animalities, warlocks, or people initiated with the ability to transform themselves into animals for a time or a period to do things, spy, or whatever. Lots of legends of skinwalkers and animalities. Who knew when you were a kid playing Mortal Kombat that this was a real thing? But I doubt any of that is the match for the giant flying eagle in the book of Revelation who flies, soaring across the skies, talking, preaching the gospel to all of mankind. A giant eagle. By the way, speaking of eagles, a cool quote about why the story of Jesus is told with the lion, eagle, ox, and man. They all represent him. The man was God's incarnation as man. The bull was the red heifer sacrifice Jesus made on the cross. The eagle is the ascension he made when he resurrected and ascended into heaven, and the lion will be what's coming soon when he comes back for the return of Christ, the second coming as the Lion of God. Lion, eagle, ox, and man. That's why the throne of God is surrounded by the tetramorph of those four animals. Everything points to Jesus, who should be your foundation to explore all of these fascinating mysteries. In close, one more cool code about the original Hebrew alphabet containing a monkey as one of the characters, and you wonder why. Esoterically, it's supposed to be because monkeys are so close to humans in resemblance, but there actually is the difference, and that's what God is focusing on. The difference of the brute beast animal nature and the higher sentience of mankind. Yet you see this de-evolution of mankind becoming very brute beast animal-like, only focusing on the flesh and the base instinct nature. Remember that you were created to be in the image of God, a higher being. Stay flying with the Most High. See you next time on The Savage Truth.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Have you ever thought today's matrix in technology would reflect the ruler of it and his spiritual powers, the devil? His name, meaning light bearer, obviously having the power of light, and him being made with music inside of him would have the power of music. Look around the world at the power of light and the power of music, and you'll see how they're completely used by the devil to keep the world in a matrix. Go check out my page, Reptilian Light Manipulation. I cover everything from optogenetics to blue light to lasers, everything that has to do with light. This being has influenced and is in charge over and is being used to keep us in a matrix. The same with music, which if you're not a music fan and you think it's boring, you have no idea what you're talking about. There are very specific calculations put into music to control the matrix. Remember, Lucifer having power of music. And anytime I try to talk about it, the videos get bounced. This is also anything that has to do with frequency, whether you're talking about supposed healing frequencies that might not be, or the LRAD weapons used to control crowds. Also things with light like Project Bluebeam, other types of light manipulations where you're seeing something that might not be actually what you're seeing. And of all the senses we know about, remember light and sound. Faith comes by hearing, and they say seeing is believing. Seems like believing and faith is what's under attack by the two powers that our enemy is known to have to keep us in the matrix. The age of deception. Time to know the truth. He is the truth, life, and way. Call out to Yeshua and be free today. Peace out.
Only if you with Yeshua, that's who you running with. Cause the Lord knows that I ain't trusting the government. Only those covered by blood who won't get stuck in sin, won't get compromised and tell lies for the love of it. If I'm Neo, Trinity, who I breathe for, get on my Nino, ye know, time to reload. Morpheus, small boy, the matrix is all around. Take a look, the world faking and faithless to shake you down. Deception on the news, these are devilish tools. Instead of thinking for yourself, seems they tell you your views. Now your social credit plummet, watch you fall from your summit and lose adoration from almost strangers you run with. Wonder what's real, what's a lie, who can you really trust, who are you? If not rooted in God, you really just a program, running programs for the old man. This world's architect got you grinding like a slow jam.
Agents of the matrix only exist to make me like them. I won't be like them. I won't be like them. Faith is what you make it, only exists to be more like him.
Gotta exit the matrix at all costs. One way is finding a portal. Is water a portal? Do you ever think better in the shower? I find it interesting how John, Daniel, and Ezekiel all had their visions near a body of water. Two were literally right near the creek, and then John on the Isle of Patmos in a cave right there near the water. Probably why you can instantly think better in the shower, or ideas come to you, or you remember stuff or feel better in general. Also interesting usages of water in the Bible, the angel that came down and stirred up the water at the pool of Siloam. First one to get in got healed. Naaman dipping 7 times in the water to be healed. God sending water to heal the earth in the flood of Noah, and water being the ultimate baptism, grave, and then resurrection, the water portal. The human body water, you were sort of born in the birth canal being a form of water. You're going to cross over the waters above, ascend above the crystal sea, and drink from the living water and never be thirsty again. If you're feeling dry, get some of that living water. Peace out. Are there beings that live in the sun, or is it a portal? Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, unless you believe the Bible, or mad accounts in history. There is this verse from the book of Revelation about an angel standing in the sun, making an announcement. Probably not just metaphorical like some think. Enoch does describe the sun as a giant chariot being driven by the wind. A sentient being literally drove by the wind. But let's skip that and check out some historical fascinations. 3 examples. There are multiple documented examples from the 1500s of things or crafts flying in or out of the sun, as well as the sun doing wild and impossible things. Things like dancing all over the sky, only coming out for a couple hours, coming out only at night, and tons of other things, and lots of accounts throughout history. Super anomalous behavior in Basel, Switzerland, number 1. One of the accounts about tech orbs constantly flying in and out of the sun, doing aerial battle all over the sky for hours. These sentient orbs were described to be battling and would fall to the earth, worn out, dissolving in smoke and ash before hitting the earth. They described them to look like cannonballs with speed and intelligence, moving with intent, knocking each other out of the air, chasing each other, shooting each other down for hours. Side note, reminds me of Chimney Rock in the 1800s. On the top of the rock, several different times there was angelic battles with horsemen and warriors that a bunch of people saw. Even Nuremberg in the 1500s, which I've mentioned before, but I'll read you some specific language that described arcs coming in and out of the sun. Also describing aerial orbs doing battle, also crosses and X's, and the cylinder cigar-shaped craft as well. And a giant spear. This giant spear has also shown up in Aztec mythology as well as Nordic mythology. They also saw motherships that would launch other orbs and spheres into the battle. And the sun glitching out, in and out, kind of like a simulated firmament, but glitching in and out to signal when the battle would start, and this happened multiple times in several places. Hence the sun as a portal idea. Numerous quotes in this account about lots of crafts and things coming in and out of the sun. I'm just willing to wager that there's people that in the past 100 years or so haven't seen anything like this, so they think it's impossible. But if any of our generation or society saw anything like this, it would all change in a second. Probably about due for one, actually. Another one even in Fatima, where the sun was swirling around and doing stuff, witnessed by a lot of people. Aside from Joshua stopping the sun in the Bible, and other ancient Egyptian historical accounts and Herodotus talking about the sun playing false and lots of other glitch-out anomalies. I'll go ahead and plug a video on my YouTube page called Goodbye to the Sun if you want to see what happens in the future. A whole different set of fascinating info. The common theme for all this, everybody was baffled and only knew what they saw and could describe it, but nobody really knew what to make of it. A lot of people did know it was spiritual though. Like I said, probably about due. So whether the S-U-N is an actual portal, which it seems like it is, the S-O-N, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, definitely is a portal to eternal life. Call out to him today. See you next time on The Savage Truth. Is Mount Maru the mountain that the devil took Jesus on? A cloaked, huge magnetic mountain hidden in the north, concealed from the public and maybe all technology of man. Mount Maru, Mount Moriah, the mountain of myrrh pattern. Check this out. Mountain of ancient legend on old world maps, and that all compasses point to with some form of a magnetic lodestone at the center of the earth. This spiritual-like veiled mountain in the far north, Maru. Even named after the serpent, check out this etymology for a second. Amaru, seen all over the Amaru-cas, but check it out. Amaru, seen all over the Incan, Aztec, Mayan, all over the South Americas, Central Americas, and even again, Amaruca. And it means the sacred serpent. Probably why there's tons of hidden giant burial mounds, even the serpent mound, and tons of pyramids in the Amarucas, the land of the sacred serpent breath, ka meaning spirit or breath. So this sacred serpent, the mountain that the devil took Jesus on, Mount Maru possibly tying in with all this. Even the pattern in the story when he went on a high mountain and then a temple. If all this is in the far north, this is probably the original in which Jerusalem was based off of. Something in the far north that Google Earth blocks out. But we know earthly things were based on a heavenly pattern. There is a temple in heaven, probably access to it somewhere in the far north. If you don't believe me, check out the Bible. What is Mount Zion in the north? And even references to verses about Zion in the far north. Mount Zion or Mount Moriah, which is the same one, is not in the north, definitely not in the far north of Israel. There's something else going on, an earthly pattern representing a heavenly one. Plus references to God or his throne are always in the north. Mount Maru, Mount Moriah, Mount of Myrrh, all biblical references. Again, this is Mount Zion, or pronounced Zion. Probably this same mountain, this spiritual mountain that all compasses point towards, pointing your way home, following the North Star. And as a final weird point, somebody who keeps wanting to put the name America or Amaruca on everything also likes to tell a poem about a snake. Keep enduring, keep climbing that mountain. Won't be long till we're at the top of the real Mount Zion, Mount Moriah, going home. Peace out. The doors that lead to nowhere, or do they phenomena, is one of the most fascinating mysteries to me. Ancient and intentional carved doorways right into stone and mountains a lot of the time, like this one in Peru that you see here. Back doors to back rooms. Legends are they really work. Couldn't be real, right? The door mystery. How does it work and where do they go? First, I want to give you this brief example. Imagine you're living on the planet and you've never seen fire before. And then all of a sudden somebody goes and does something, initiates a sequence, and then some sort of portal bursts forth with some sort of impressive power. And imagine them telling you that they can open up a portal to another dimension and have a powerful weapon break forth, and all they have to do is rub two sticks together, the same two sticks that you've seen all the time. They rub them together, and you're like, yeah, right. And then fire happens. Imagine there's several other things on this planet that have been hidden from you or you've never known about. Imagine doors to nowhere or to somewhere is one of these real phenomenons. In Peru, this door of the gods is said to only be opened by certain shamans and tribal leaders. People with certain keys. More on that in a minute. A few more examples of some doors like this, or to other realms in general. Like the Oba Cave in Mexico, which the Zapotec people completely sealed off and is rumored to be a portal to the underworld. In fact, there was a church built right over top of it, which is a theme you see all over the world about churches being built over possible places to the underworld, underground labyrinths, or places with secret doors. A weird theme. Again, also huge networks of caves and tunnels all over the entire realm that nobody's quite sure how got here. On my YouTube page, you can find a video about Azazel's possible prison site here on Earth, or you can find it in the Desert Supernatural Mystery compilation. Also more exploration on Tartarus and the Underworld in my Marine Kingdom compilation. Hidden stone doors like Quantar, which is another underground labyrinth of tunnels with a door. And of course all these places are blocked off. What do the elites know? What knowledge is being kept from us? Imagine a world where actual portals exist, but they're blocked off, gatekept and monitored, and the public doesn't have any access to them, and the elite is either figuring it out or has figured out how to use them. By the way, the general public is pretty much the farm populace. At least that's how they see us. A mysterious door in India called Vault B at this temple, protected by a curse, and again with the theme that only certain people can open it, like the door in Peru. The Door of the Gods, which sounds a lot like Gate of the Gods, which is what Babel means, this whole Stargate and portal concept, all over the ancient world. Also on my YouTube page, find the Nimrod Tower Technology Saga, as well as my recent Unpod Language Comes from the Stars. The final one, then we'll explore how does it work and where did they go for a second. There's a whole mystery of Baalbek, Baal being right in the name. Supposedly 7 hidden gates to other literal different 7 worlds that exist here, and 2 have been found. 5 remain hidden. Other mysteries at Baalbek, like stones weighing almost 2 million pounds that people have no idea to this day how they were moved, obviously with ancient technology and frequency. This place is obviously a spiritual ley line, just like a regular ley line, but also spiritually charged over time with lots of different temples to various gods, probably all the same deity. Baal, Zeus, Apollo, different names with the same energy portal location as a stronghold. Different cultures, different names, but probably the same Revelation 9 deity, Apollyon the Destroyer, that will be released. Again, by opening up a Stargate portal to the bottomless pit with a key, doors, and keys. Also, ancient texts describe spaceships taking off from Baalbek, and the ancient Sumerians referenced it as a spaceport, and there's even art depicting rockets on it. Supposedly could be close to 10,000 years old, probably does in some way tie into the actual Tower of Babel, ancient Sumerians, Anunnaki, being that it's only about 500 or so miles away from where modern day Babylon is said to be. These are only a few of the ones that have been found or admitted or are known about to the public. Also stories with common themes of white Nordics, tall white beings with long blonde hair that come through lots of these portals. This is all over through the South Americas, Central Americas, and even through the Mount Shasta area. Beings that come right through the stone walls of mountains. And these doors that go to nowhere, which actually go to somewhere, just needing the right technology. Which brings us into a good question: how does this work? Also esoterically, the Golden Gate at the temple being blocked off for a different reason. But I'm betting this works on DNA and frequency tones, literal keys having the key to open these doors, plus needing the right kind of DNA, which again operates on vibrating frequency. You have to have the right bloodline, DNA, knowledge, and technology, and sacred utterances that you would have to say with exact pronunciation, in an order, with certain tones, even at certain times of the season in Mazzaroth with openings in the sky, knowing all this ancient knowledge. But these doors to nowhere would actually go to somewhere. But where? Also probably having to have a certain substance or substances in your body and having done rituals, all in conjunction. Certain angelic knowledge and technology. And empowered angel artifacts. Artifacts from other realms, all tie in to this door mystery. Where do they go? Back rooms, to the stars, to spiritual dimensions that only exist in the mind, to quantum realms, a quantum light body experience, maybe all of the above, but the actual physical body does disappear and go somewhere, and again, beings do come through these doors. Some of these disappearances were temporary, some were for good, believed to ascend it to a higher level, or gone up somewhere into the constellations, to these other worlds. All fascinating phenomena. Is this related to any of the following phenomena, like missing 411, time slips, dimensional portals being opened, people disappearing either in national parks or other places to never be seen from again? or weird staircases that go nowhere at all, which may be a rumor or art hoax. But the weird trail of monoliths being put up everywhere probably is not a hoax, even though some said to be an art display. There's this old Bill Cooper prediction about the appearances of monoliths and this esoteric meaning of it that I might cover one time. Maybe all tying into some sort of portal door theme. Even the Pope doors or the Jubilee doors, and even Enoch taught in the Mazzaroth portals were open on the 4 intercalary days. With the world changing so fast, I'm willing to bet some of these portals have been opened, and some have been opened. And even the whole digital world ties into this, in a way. Also predictive programming, which is outright ritualism. This whole portals are opening theme from this universal theme park also showing you this astrolabe symbol, which is a symbol you may have been seeing a lot of lately. Resembling the wheels within wheels, this is an ancient symbol that I might cover one time. The same predictive programming showing these portals opening with the phrase, "the portals are opening and beginning to open," has the exact specific catchphrase, "the universe will never be the same again." This theme park, this alternate world, which could be built as a ritual resemblance to actually open portals through energy harvested from the people that go there and spend their money and sort of bring it into existence through their agreement and their energy given to it. But the different worlds themes, some of these themes of the different worlds and portals that are opening include Dark Universe, one with wizardry and magic, and one with tons of dragons, all portals being released into this world. And the book of Revelation does indicate, again, portals being open and other beings coming into this realm. Not all doors or roads in life or choices go somewhere, but one door that definitely does go somewhere, aside from these doors, is Jesus. Yeshua is the door. Also, something I never say, if the Lord has been showing you symbols of doors and keys, then this might be your sign. Breakthrough, don't give up. You're right there. See you next time on The Savage Truth. Peace out.
God's man is God's dominance, it's obvious. Plus, know that there'll always be obstinance. But I don't do what they want, I do the opposite. I'm living upside down, staying hidden in the matrix. Undercover as a human, big booming things from they live. Gonna serve them all waitress. The kingdom practice patience. They want your journey failing, but you on your way to greatness. Hero's journey.
Jesus is the ultimate door, especially for breakthrough. Hold on, keep going, you're almost there. Also, Ephesians 6 wrestling is what this really is all about, the spiritual warfare game. Don't let Satan deceive you, keep your mind in a good place. And peep these last days end time deceptions, see if you've been caught up. Speaking in tongues is totally different than praying in the Spirit. This is totally misunderstood. Speaking in tongues is actually the gift of real languages to witness to foreigners. This is to bridge the language gap. This was something that would spontaneously and supernaturally happen as a way of spreading the gospel. This is totally different than praying in the Spirit, which is your own personal prayer language. This is the Holy Spirit manifesting Himself, knowing what to pray through you, through groanings and utterings that words cannot express, that He knows what to pray. While although real and can manifest in churches and gatherings, sometimes it's a Kundalini witchcraft babble. Literally sounds like babbling, because it all has to do with the Tower of Babel and unbabbling the Tower of Babel when the Holy Spirit came on Pentecost. You don't believe me? Check it out. The original pure and holy language that could create things into this sim. Man could do anything, God said, and they built the Tower of Babel, which was then destroyed by wind spirits, wind pattern, and supernatural language pattern. The languages were changed with the wind. This was all reversed at Pentecost when the sound of a mighty rushing wind came in, and supernatural language restoration and manifestation. This is the original holy lost language of the Spirit. So speaking in tongues is the actual gift to speak to foreigners, to witness to Christ, or to interpret it. Then on a side note, there is an actual holy language. And then also this is different than praying in the Spirit. Paul instructs everybody to pray in the Spirit. And Paul also says speaking in tongues is a gift that only some have. So there is a distinction, and you have to understand this is totally misunderstood. Everything is trapped in language. That's why He is literally the Word that became flesh. And demons are disembodied spirits that need a host voice to manifest through language and words to create into the sim. Power of life and death in the tongue. Not all thoughts are your own. Beware of becoming a vessel for the wrong spirit. The tongues of fire phenomena is a real thing that happens. Enoch even saw these tongues of fire in a vision. Language spirits. He is the Word incarnate in the flesh. Guard your mind in words, and if you ever hear a mighty rushing wind, this tongues of fire phenomenon might catch you if you're open to the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. See you next time on The Savage Truth. Christ consciousness is not the same thing as Jesus. Are you unknowingly becoming an Aleister Crowley self-initiate disciple here on TikTok? The spirit of Antichrist literally denies that Jesus came in a body. That's the whole motive. This is in 1 John. The spirit of Antichrist denies that he was a real person, never here in a body, because then there's no power in the resurrection. It's just a generic Christ where the Antichrist will fill that role. The Matriarch, the world leader. Paul said these are doctrines of demons and to let those doctrines in them be accursed. Christ consciousness different than Jesus. It's a Crowley seduction. This is all gatekeeping. There's a whole deep level set up once people awaken to the matrix. Realizing the programs and the lies, there's a whole department that gatekeeps to lure you away from the actual truth of Yeshua. Take you off the path. Narrow is the actual path that few people will find. Wolves in sheep's clothing, just like wolves coming up to people's houses and luring dogs to come play with them in the woods, but they're actually acting friendly just to get them back to the pack for them to tear apart. Lured away from the flock. Stay close to the good shepherd. The enemy will always send people in your life to lure you away from the truth and to keep you in the tree of knowledge cycle chasing pattern. It's all a part of matrix gatekeeping programming. Him being here in the body, literally dying and resurrecting, and his blood, the ultimate source of salvation. Don't get conned out here. See you next time on The Savage Truth. Christians are the real Illuminati. What are mysteries to angels in a real breakaway civilization? Even angels don't know these secrets. Mystery in the Bible doesn't mean what you think it means. It implies something totally different. It's not something that can be figured out through clues. It's only something that can be revealed by the revealer, the one who knows. It implies total initiation. Let's check out the Greek word now. Mystery is the Greek word mysterion, meaning a mystery, a secret of which initiation is necessary. The counsels of God once hidden, but now revealed. Something that only God knew that he revealed over time, things angels didn't even know. I'm going to reveal further what angels think are mysteries in a minute. Also derived from the Greek verb myo, meaning to initiate into the mysteries. Mustes was an initiated one. Mutus, meaning from the word mute. Like you mute, like you don't speak secrets. You don't tell no matter what, only except to the initiated. This is what Mu, a whole breakaway, secret society, civilization is based off of. That was called Mu. Muted technology, secret to the rest of the world. The rest of the farmed populace, which, well, is us. Illuminati literally means to be illuminated with light. The enlightened ones. Hopefully you're part of that real Illuminati and you have the gift of the tongues of fire. In the meantime, catch my last unpod, Language from the Stars. And watch out for the next one as well. As a bonus, you can check out Are Christians Demon Possessed? Or do any ancient curses on land still remain if you're hungry for more? In the meantime, see you next time on The Savage Truth.